little did we know what we were going to find when we went to arrest David Fuller at his home address. You know, a treasure trove from his perspective of just the most abhorrent and horrendous offending against deceased bodies.
I am admitting the offences, but I don't really want to go into detail.
Terrence Roach, age 25, a diagnosed psychopath, is currently under interrogation for the heinous crimes of murder and abuse of a corpse. His victim was an innocent teenager who relied on a wheelchair. The victim, Beckerl, a 19-year-old with significant disabilities, was initially reported missing on July 17, 2016. The raw emotional distress of the Beckerl family was captured in a 911 call from Alea's house. As they realized Beckerl's wheelchair remained beside her bed, with only sheets where she had once been lying.
911, what's your emergency?
They came in my house and took my disabled daughter. She needed a wheelchair. The diagnosis is seizure.
The search for Alea began, leaving many wondering about her whereabouts for 8 months. On March 27, 2017, Evansville police reported the discovery of a decomposed body inside an empty residence on South Bedford Avenue, confirmed to be Alea Beckerl. 2 days following the body's identification, Terrence Roach was detained in connection with the case. The vacant house on South Bedford Avenue, where the remains were found, happened to be next to the residence where Terrence Roach resided. Subsequently, he was quickly subjected to an intense interrogation by the police, as Evansville detectives aimed to corner him into a confession.
Like I was saying, I was a little confused the other day on the window. I want to make sure I know what window you're talking about, okay? Because obviously crime scene did a lot of work on it. This is the front of the house. Of course, this is the alley pictures. Is this the area that you parked in the back? Now, the gate's open. Do you remember? Is this the area that you parked in the back here in the alley? Or this is the front of the house. Do you think you parked out front, or do you think you parked in the back? This is just looking down the alley in one direction. Here's a better shot of this is the fence, and it's kind of grew up in the back. I know it's kind of hard to see it all at one time here, but these are all shots of the back here. See, there's a better shot of it right there, back of the alley. Obviously, I know it's nighttime when you were parked there, so it looks different, but is that the alley you remember parking in? This would be like right here is her house. Right here is Alea's house, you know. This is and then this would be looking the other direction.
This would be like this would be the one way on this.
Yeah, that's Governor going south. Ain't that look familiar to you? Well, there's the front of the house. You think he parked in the front of the house?
No.
Okay, moving down. Probably just look different to you. Okay. Well, here is the back of the house.
Roach's response to the officer is barely audible, as if he has surrendered entirely. His demeanor makes him almost mute, his words strained and barely noticeable.
No, I'm saying, but you remember that's her house. Okay, that's all I'm asking you. Now this is the back windows. I think at one time you said when I talked to you it was the back window, but then you said it was Alea's bedroom window. So this is a window that was found partially open in the back, but then we have some pictures of, let me move forward here. Now this is looking down like right here. If this is, they're sticking together here, aren't they? If this is the side, this is looking down the side of the house. This is like, if I'm standing right here with my camera, looking down the side of the house right here, this is the angle, this is the view I'm looking at. Now you see there's a window right there that goes into her bedroom. Is that by chance the window you went in?
I didn't go in here.
You didn't go in it. Okay, what do you mean you didn't go in it?
Took her out.
You just reached through the window? Well, I mean, this is pretty high. You would have had to crawl through at some point. Well, look, okay, then while we're on that, this is the window. So that window is right there. That's her bed. Now, obviously, you'd have to reach pretty far. Tell me again how you did that, because this is what we need to clarify. Okay? Tell me for sure how you took her off that bed without completely getting into that window.
Pretty sure I just reached in and grabbed her.
Let me ask you a question.
Close right here in the toy box is right there.
Well, there's a toy box right there. Yeah, you're right. So did the toy box help you in some fashion? Explain that to me. Not physically help you, a toy box can't move. I mean, did that toy box play a factor in this? Tell me about that, because that's important.
It helped me slide her over so I could pull out the window.
Okay. So, let me get a couple better shots here of that bedroom. Hang on one second. Let me get a better shot. Okay. So this shot right here, for example. Or maybe that shot there. That's a little better. So that's moving over. That's moving over. Farther over. So see how that lid is kind of cockeyed? How it's kind of tilted? Is that what you think that was done by you pulling her through that window on top of this? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if it was like that afterwards.
Well, this was the morning that her mother realized that she's gone. This is our crime scene technician taking pictures the morning after she was missing. So this was probably within a few hours of you taking her from the home, okay? So see how these curtains, these blinds are messed up? Did you just push the blinds open with one hand and you're saying you reached across the bed and drug her? Is that what you did? Show me exactly. And then you showed me yesterday about how you lifted her. Why don't you stand up for me and tell me again show me how you drug her across and then what you did from there. Like this is the bed right here. That's the toy box you're sitting on. Okay, show me how you did what you did.
Reached in and pulled.
Okay. So you pulled her through the window?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember this? You remember that growth, that high? That's probably the start of a tree or some type of growth. I don't know what that is. But did you remember going past that or anything? You got her over this fence by yourself? Did you remember anything breaking on this fence?
I think that was already broke.
You didn't break that off. It looks fresh to me. Like maybe you cracked it off or something.
I think it was already broke. I'm not for sure.
But you got her over this fence. Is that what you're saying? All right, Terrence, I want to ask you a question, okay? The story is somewhat believable, okay? It is. And if that's the truth, I appreciate it. But I want to make sure, I know Detective Hands here, we're worried about something, okay? We're really worried about something. And we don't want this to come to light later. And you realize that your younger daughter, your younger sister, Carly, she's 13, or just turned 14. She's a juvenile, okay? So she's protected by law, all right? I want to make sure, did Carly help you remove Leah from the house?
No.
And you promised me that. Now I told you the other day, Terrence, I know you apologized to lying for me the first time, before we got to the whole truth. I mean, you told me a majority of the truth, but you didn't tell me the whole truth. You didn't tell me the part about her actually being alive when she left the house, okay? And you apologized for that, and I commend you for that. Terrence, it's just tough on everybody. It really is. This is, but I commend you for being honest with me, and you told me everything about the sex with Aaliyah when she was dead upstairs, and you told me about all that stuff. The duct tape, you were honest about that. So we commend you for all of that. So now there's no reason for you not to tell the truth on anything.
The disturbing aspect of this narrative lies not just in Roach's apparent actions so far, but in the chilling simplicity of the entire sequence of events. The notion that someone could effortlessly reach through a window and abduct another person without needing to enter the house is deeply unsettling.
Another friend, there's nobody else with you. If you were asked to place your hand on the Bible, on the stand, next to that judge, like you said today, that's an oath to tell the truth and all but the truth, and they ask you the same question, you would say the same answer. There's nobody helped you remove Aaliyah from the residence.
Why would I have to testify?
I'm using this as an example. No, you may not have to testify. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you were asked to tell the truth in front of a judge, if you were asked to put your hand on the Bible, which is to send a lie on that Bible, what I'm asking you is, would you still say the same thing, that no one helped you remove Aaliyah?
Yes.
The detective emphasized the seriousness of the situation within the solemn confines of the room. A judge, holding a Bible, asked, "Would you swear that you acted alone today as well?" The response echoed, a repetitive, "Yes, just the same." Tension mounted steadily with each repetition, intensifying the atmosphere.
To me, that you had had sexual relations with Kara on a previous occasion, when you were under the influence and things. Is that still the truth? You had sex with Kara? Okay. How many times did you actually have sex with Kara? Just one time. Now, obviously, like I told you, about a month before this happened, she had a surgery in Annapolis. So, I know you don't. You weren't involved, but it's about the time period shortly after the time that your dad was arrested for the shooting incident, okay? And I think I asked you before to make sure you had sex with Kara before the incident when your dad was arrested for the shooting, or after? Before. Okay, all right. And you just had sex with her one time, and it was involving drugs and alcohol. Okay. So there's no reason you're telling us the whole truth on everything else. You'd be honest about that. You promise. Okay. All right.
Well, it's already over. I'm not going to be able to get out of jail anymore.
Well, and right now the only thing you can do is be honest, right? And I asked you, and you don't know of any other times that Carol let other guys have sex with Aaliyah? So you think that part's probably not true, or as far as you know?
As far as you know.
But you definitely didn't have sex with prior with Aaliyah prior to taking her that night. Okay. I'm going to ask you one more time, because you are being honest. You're not protecting Kara for anything, right? You promised that.
Yes.
You would tell me the truth now that it's all come out? So we're not missing anything, right?
No.
You acted alone. And just had the idea to take her down to Bedford Street. So I guess when you put her up there, you never intentionally meant for her to die, I guess.
No.
Okay. You pretty certain? Tell me again how that duct tape was wrapped. Okay. Do you think you could have covered her nose up at all? You sure about that? Are you positive?
Positive.
Just her mouth was covered up around her head. But with her being handicapped, she probably didn't breathe very well either anyway. How'd you lay her upstairs when you put her down?
I really don't remember.
Well, when you had sex with Aaliyah upstairs, was she on her back? You didn't do any other positions with her. Is that right? I hate to be gross, I hate to be blunt, but I have to ask that question. When you had sex with her, you were on top of her, and she was on her back. You didn't put her on her knees or anything, and do anything else with her. Okay. Hey, go ahead and eat, man. I'm sorry. But going back to the window, you feel pretty certain that this window right by her bed, the one with the disturbed blinds and that lid there on the toy box. That's where you got her from, right there. Okay. Jeff, Terrence, what I'd like to, I've been working with Detective Melton on this since the get-go on this, and I just happened to be out of town when this all went down. I came in early this morning and watched your thing from the other day and read some of the stuff about everything, and I just kind of like to go over a timeline because I've been privy to some information that after Kara found out that you were in custody and she was talking to your dad, have you known Kara longer than your dad?
I'm not sure who knew each other longer.
Okay. How did you originally meet Kara?
She babysit me, I guess, one day of Jamie.
She babysat you?
Yeah.
And who else?
Jamie.
Jamie
Wilder.
Okay. Is that one of Kara's high school friends or something?
I'm not sure if they went to high school.
Okay. And then, how old do you think you would have been when that went on?
I don't know. I know it's when she lived in Bradford Point.
Okay. All right. That helps. That helps. And so she would come over. You would go over there, and she would watch you after school, or?
It wasn't like always. It was like a couple times.
A couple times. Okay.
With Jamie.
And then you start getting older, and after Kara moves from Bradford Point, do you know where she moved to then? Is that when she bought the house on Iowa? Do you know? Or?
Last time I saw her and my dad were together.
Okay. So when was the last time you saw Kara and talked to her?
Wherever Dad was, I went over there. My dad got locked up for shooting at the house.
Okay, so after that you went over there? Okay. That was on the 23rd of May of 2016 is when that happened. We'll kind of do a little timeline here for you.
The abuse was ongoing, mirroring numerous other cases where victims endured repeated assault at the hands of a family member or someone close. These tragic situations unfold when a predator identifies an easy target, much like Aaliyah in this case.
Pretty much my day involved me smoking a lot of K2.
Can you tell me one more time?
Pretty much my day involved me smoking a lot of K2.
Okay. And so you smoked K2 the entire day, and okay, go ahead.
And it just popped in my head to go do what I did.
Where were you at smoking the K2?
Tim's, I think, but...
The one on Blackford?
Yeah. I think I was sitting on my truck, though.
And that's that little red Dodge you had on her? Big red.
It just popped in my head, and I just did. They took her.
Okay. So, with it being that amount of time frame that you've been in there, you know, it'd been a little while since you've been in there. How did you pick that window? How did you? I mean, take a deep breath here, and just the best of your recollection, let me know how this night went.
Parked in the alley, and
Do you remember what clothes you had on?
no, I don't remember.
Okay. Nighttime? Okay.
I know it was dark. I'm not sure what time though.
Okay. And we park in the alley, and then what do? Let's go step by step through this.
I can't remember if I went through the gate or I jumped the fence.
Okay.
But I went to Leah's window. It was unlocked.
Okay. We're walking up. We're walking up. We get out of the truck. Go ahead. You take it. Okay, so this would be the alley. Do you remember if you came down and turned in this way? I think in your other statement you said you backed into the alley?
No, I'm not talking about Bedford.
Oh, okay. Oh, you back? That's right. You back in the alley over on Bedford. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's one thing that we just wanted to clear up. So here we go. So you think you can't remember if you went through the gate or you jumped the fence? Did you look in any of the other windows to see if they were? Could you look in any other windows to see make sure they were asleep? Do you remember the TV being on?
Just take a deep breath and just the best you can remember how this went.
Something was on. I don't know if it was TV or like a light or something.
Okay. And you know how the layout of the house is here.
Yeah.
I have one of the. Could you? The one with the couch.
I don't have any.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I am confused. The best I can do on that is this one right here.
You've got the room where Aaliyah's at in there, and then you have the room over here. Tell me what you remember seeing over on the couch over there. Can you remember do you remember where Carly was sleeping, or who else was in this? This is Aaliyah's bed right here. This is the living room. Who's out in the living room?
And that's kind of a low picture. It's kind of facing at a looking downward.
You know the kind of the funky L-shaped couch.
Mm-hmm. Kara was right there. Carla was laying like that.
Okay, so Kara's here, and Carly's here. Okay, and what are they doing?
Carla's asleep. It looked like Kara was just laying there, sitting up. I don't know. She was waking up.
Okay, what? And what do you mean? Just how? You said Carly's sleeping and she's sitting up. How do you, or what do you remember of that? Did she make any contact with you or anything? Okay, and where's Roscoe at?
I didn't see him in there.
Okay. You remember going over the fence? Is that true? You do remember going over the fence? Okay. Is this the window you went to, do you think? Or was it the window on the other side? That one? Okay.
That's the window that's right by her bed. That's the one you think you went through? Okay. Do you remember sliding up the screen? It looks like in that picture that it's a little bit of a gap, like it's been pushed open a little bit.
I don't remember.
Okay, all right. So, is it, Terrence, is it, I don't know how to word this, is it just be one, are you pretty quiet? I mean, I guess it sounds like you're good at going through a window and getting into a house without somebody hearing you, the way it sounds. Is that pretty accurate, you think? I mean, how much you weigh?
130.
130 pounds. So you're small, you're skinny. So do you think that you got through that window and drug Aaliyah out of that window across that toy box and Kara never heard you?
I don't know sure, but I know I just reached in. I heard it, my whole body never went in.
Okay, but I mean that Kara never got up and said, "Hey, you," or "Terrence," or "What are you doing?" or nothing. She never heard you, awoke, or whatever she was doing asleep, or.
And never said nothing.
Okay. Can we talk about something else while we're, and Jeff, you think anybody else can talk about it in a second, but there was a report on file this Maya Deisher, how you pronounce it? Deisher. That's Glenn Eastwood's new girlfriend, right?
I guess. I know it's his son's baby mama.
Okay. Girlfriend, they're not married, right? Now there's an incident where she caught you in her house. Right? And there's no reason not being honest now, right? And you were able to get into this woman's house about 4:30 so in the morning.
I don't think it was no 4:30.
Well, you know what? She said there were two incidents. She said she yelled at you.
I think it was 3.
Well, in the morning? Okay. 3:30. I don't remember the exact time. I don't have my glasses. Hang on a minute. I think she reported it about 4:30. Okay. So it was in the middle of the night. So you were able to get into this woman's home without her hearing you. And she said that she awoke and you didn't know she was on the couch. You were looking in her bedroom and she saw you crouching down in her hallway, looking in her bedroom.
Not crouched down.
Well, you were in her hallway. You had something in your hand, a wooden club or something.
No, I was carrying a stick.
Stick. How'd you get in her house without her hearing you?
Her bathroom window was open.
Bathroom window was open. So.
And I knocked on the door prior to that. I asked if I could come in and warm up because I was walking from First Avenue and somebody gave me a ride over there. Because that's as far as they was going. And she told me to knock on next door to see if his name Joey let me stay over there.
A recurring pattern of behavior emerges, painting a rather unwelcoming picture. The officer referenced a prior home invasion case involving Roach and instances where he was caught. Yet, there might exist unaccounted for occasions when similar actions went undetected or unreported.
Well, what was your intention looking in her bedroom, having a stick and climbing in her window?
Because I was drunk and the police came.
The police were outside or something?
Yeah, like they shined their lights on me. Like after I got out and knocked on Joey's door, I was ready to walk back up, but I was stuck when I seen them flashing.
Well, she said you knocked and then she chased you away, and then you came.
Chase me.
She told you to leave.
She told me to knock and ask Joey if I could stay over there for a little bit. She said if not, to come back over.
But then she wakes up an hour or so later and you're in her house, in her hallway by her bedroom. And again, Terrence, now this is all irrelevant. It really is. I'm just trying to understand your mind thought because we had the incident, you're younger, you had sex with the dog. Now you've got Lee upstairs in the vacant house on Bedford. You've had sex with her, and she's a handicapped girl. Do you have a sexual drive that you can't control? I mean, now you're in another woman's home here in January, in her hallway by her bedroom, with a stick in your hand. What was you're obviously under the influence, so it sounds like your sexual desire increases when you're under the influence. Were you going to have sex with this girl too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. But the truth of it is, that's all not true. You acted alone. You would swear on your mother, on your father, and on the Bible that you acted alone in this crime and you took her by yourself.
Yes.
Social media can serve as a valuable resource for collecting evidence. However, it's vital to separate factual information and the rapid spread of online rumors and gossip. This distinction becomes crucial before attributing weight to suspect statements that might have been influenced or tainted by online content.
So, if we run across another case like this, we can, you would be helping us out. If there's anything in here that we haven't asked you, or is there any other details you remember anything about any of this case from the time it popped into your head? Had you had thoughts prior about having sex with Aaliyah prior to that night of smoking K2? Any of the other nights you got high? Did you ever have any feelings or anything like that when you get high to have sex?
Sometimes, but not like that, because normally it makes me pass out.
Okay. Why do you think this time was different?
I don't know.
And do you know why we picked Aaliyah?
I don't know.
Well, why not Michaela?
I have no clue.
Okay. So worse, obviously I've never smoked K2, so I can't tell you I know what it feels or anything. So you're sitting in your truck smoking, is that what you said? And then how does it pop into your head? I mean, what was your thought process to go over there and just to take her, to have sex with her? What was the process of what was the idea of just taking her then? Try to walk me through this. Put me in your head and let me turn.
It's okay to be honest. It really is, because you've been honest about a bunch of stuff. Just be honest in this part too, even though you may think it's embarrassing. Okay.
No, it was just wanted to take her for like a few days just to get back at her because I thought she set my dad up.
You wanted to get back at Kara because she set your dad up?
I thought she did.
Okay.
On the shooting part? What is your understanding of the shots fired?
From all I know, when like he was saying, he was hearing Kara and some guy talking that there's going to kill him.
Are we talking about Marty?
I don't know.
Are we
I
talking?
just know when he hurt his leg for jumping out the window.
Okay. When your dad was out prior to the shooting happening, how often did you talk and see your dad?
Whenever I was able to stay up late enough after I got off from Miracle,
And would you go by and see him after work?
he'd be riding around with my mom.
Riding around with your mom? And you would go, she would drop you off over there? Or?
No, they'd be riding around. A couple times I drove him.
Okay. Did you, I know your dad, I've had conversations with your dad. I've got to know your dad during this whole incident. And so Brent went up and talked to your dad the day this happened.
Yeah, I did.
Did your dad talk to you about Kara's boyfriend that he had moved in, or that she had moved in, or any of that other stuff? Did you know about all the drama that was going on there with her ex-boyfriend, the white guy, Marty?
I didn't know the dude's name.
Did you know there was drama or shit happening?
No.
Okay.
All I knew is from what Dad was talking about that they was trying to kill him.
Okay. And is that where you had the idea that she set him up? Did your dad ever tell you that he was thinking that they were scheming to kill him, or?
That's what he was saying. They were going to shoot him.
Okay. And when did you have your conversation? When did you have this conversation? Who did you have this conversation with to get this into your head?
Okay. I think it was something my mom was telling me. I seen that he jumped up the window from what they were saying, and he was actually hurt on his leg.
Okay. So we're smoking, and then what's the plan then? What's the thought process?
It just popped in my head to take her.
Okay. From the outside of the house, do you know which window was Aaliyah's? Okay. From being in there, how many times do you think you've been in that house?
I don't know.
Okay. More than 10? Okay. What about, have you ever smoked meth with your dad and Kara, all the three of you together? Okay. Did you ever buy meth from your dad? Did he ever give you any? Okay.
You've been in the house enough for that dog knows you. That dog trusts you. Did your mother tell you to go get Aaliyah?
No.
I mean, was that part of the plan because your dad, you felt like Kara was setting him up? Was your mom part of that?
No.
Your mom didn't tell you at all to go get Aaliyah?
No.
Your dad didn't tell you over the phone in the jail? I mean, we can check that.
No.
We can check those conversations. Your dad didn't tell you, hey, son, Kara set me up, go get Aaliyah.
No.
None of that happened. It was all your idea.
So we're smoking and then just, okay, so we're going to go get her. So, I mean, you got to put us in our shoes here. You have two people that are asleep on the couch, two people that know you, and we're going to remove a body from the house. That takes a certain amount of, not skill, but the ability to do that and to go through the window. That's where I want to. Did you pull yourself up in the window and then reach out and grab her? How did you? This is where I really want you to just take a big deep breath, try to clear all your thoughts. I know you've got probably a million thoughts going on in your head, Terrence, and I understand that. But this is just where we're trying to figure out how it happened, because A, it helped clears a lot of this stuff up, and B, it's just a huge learning experience for us, and it's closure for the family, because they're feeling guilty for what happened. Is there something that they could have did that would have stopped this? So this is where you just, if you can just take a deep breath and just relax, and when you're standing there at the window, walk me through how this happens. Had over the phone, in the jail, that you had her up there.
No.
And you never told Glenn next door, your stepdad, Glenn Eastwood, that you had her over there?
No, I didn't tell nobody.
Didn't tell anybody at all?
No.
Is Kara...
Yesterday was my first time talking about it.
Is Kara, is her, any of her phone numbers in your memory on your phone? Do you have any of her phone numbers? That's a good point. I'm sorry to cut you off, but you said to me Friday, now you had two phones. There was a cheaper one, like a flip phone that was kind of cracked.
That was my dad's old phone.
Yeah.
Before he got locked up.
Okay. And then you had the yellow and black phone that you said was the Wi-Fi only phone. Okay. The one that you said was your dad's phone. You're talking about DeMarco Roach, right? Your real dad.
Yeah.
Now, he gave you that phone? Or
My mom did.
your mom, meaning Dawn, gave
Yeah.
it? Did you get that phone from him prior to him getting arrested on June 16th or after that?
I know it was my mom just let me start using it, and he was locked up.
Do you know how she got it?
I imagine he gave it to her.
Thoroughness is key for authorities to gather all possible evidence. Determining the number of phones an individual possesses and any changes in their devices throughout the timeline of the crime is crucial. People tend to switch cell phones at different frequencies and may even change service providers, making it essential to track these details for a comprehensive investigation.
Do you sometimes feel that you can't fulfill your sexual needs or just haven't found the right woman or what? Everybody's got their own thing. You know, that's what makes the world goes around. That's why we have shops on Greenville Road to sell sex toys and all the other stuff. And there's porn, there's everything. So how do you describe your sexual life?
Like, what do you want me to tell you about it?
Is it frustrating?
I guess it's okay.
You're always trying to chase a better high or a better...
What's getting high got to do with sex?
Well, like a better orgasm or a better... if you just got to look at it from our perspective, the incident with the dog and then the incident with Aaliyah and stuff, is there anything you're missing or leaving out that we need to know about or any other incidents that we need to know about? Just be honest, Terrence. You've been honest so far. I'm proud of it.
Roach struggles to articulate his sexual desires coherently, and notably, he doesn't perceive them as abnormal. Consequently, both detectives find it incredibly challenging to comprehend the situation due to Roach's inability to explain his inclinations in a way that aligns with predictable understanding.
What was your plan if she hadn't passed away?
I was going to let her worry long enough, and I was going to drop her back off.
At the house, in the night, or when would you do that?
At night, I was going to kick open the door and sleep.
Like a way to just try to scare the mom. So you never had intentions in turning Aaliyah into like a sex slave or something. The sex was an afterthought. So this whole idea was a plan just to give Kara a little payback for the deal with her previous month when your dad and shooting deal. Does your dad and your mom still? And this is totally normal nowadays, or any time. Does your mom and dad? What is their relationship? Is it cool? Do they get along?
My dad?
Yes. He's talking about Dawn, right? He's talking about Dawn. And Dawn and your dad DeMarco, not Kara DeMarco, but your real mom, Dawn and...
They're still friends.
Do you think, I know this, you probably don't want to talk about this since it's your parents, but do you think they still messed around? At the jail, there's other inmates that are violent and angry and stuff because it's got so much attention. So the higher-ups decided to keep him in an isolation cell for a while so he's not in danger from anybody else. So I just didn't want you to think that they were trying to punish him or something by keeping him isolated, but that's for his own protection for right now, okay? Okay? All right. Just finish up with her and...
Where did I leave off at? But, I got court. Oh, yeah, I go to court Wednesday at 10. The 5th at 10. Then I got court Tuesday.
Roach's mother wasn't overstating the danger he faced from other inmates. Still, both she and Roach seemed disappointed about his placement on suicide watch, despite it being the safest option for him. In May 2018, during his trial on charges of murder, burglary, and kidnapping, the jury delivered a verdict of not guilty. However, despite this acquittal, Terrence Roach received a 17-year prison sentence on June 27, 2018, as the jury found him guilty on counts of criminal confinement and mistreatment of a corpse. As the unsettling case of David Fuller comes to a focus, revealing his facade as a former staff member at Kent and Sussex Hospital, the scene shifts to an interrogation room in 2021. Fuller faces scrutiny for a crime dating back to 1987, yet the true scope of his murders remained hidden until the uncovering of a pattern of abuse spanning from 2008 to 2020. In 1987, Tunbridge Wells housed two women, Wendy Nell and Caroline Pierce, both in their 20s, unacquainted with each other but tragically sharing the same town and, horrifyingly, the same killer. The tragic story of Wendy Nell, a 25-year-old woman who had recently moved into a bed set after ending her marriage, unfolded with heart-wrenching details. Wendy's family described her as fiercely independent and dedicated. Her friend Julie Monks recounted the impact of the separation on Wendy, who had always strived to create a nurturing family environment. On June 22, 1987, after finishing work and visiting the bank, Wendy spent the evening at her boyfriend's house, parting ways at 11 p.m. Concerned when she didn't arrive as expected the next day, her boyfriend went to her flat, discovering Wendy's lifeless, naked body on the bed, the sheets stained with blood. Strangely, despite the thin walls of the bed sets, no neighbors reported hearing any distressing sounds. The autopsy confirmed Wendy had suffered brutal beatings, sexual assault, and strangulation. The silence surrounding such violence in a typically peaceful town raised unsettling questions. Wendy's father, Bill, a retired bus driver who passed away in 2017, had expressed a moving belief that if Wendy's killer remained unidentified until his own passing, she would somehow reveal the truth from beyond the grave. The devastating sequence continued with Caroline Pierce, age 20, employed at the renowned Buster Brown's restaurant in Tunbridge Wells. Reports of distressing screams from Caroline's doorstep on the night of her disappearance sent shockwaves through the neighborhood. However, unlike Wendy, Caroline was not discovered in her home. Instead, her absence endured for 3 agonizing weeks until authorities located her lifeless body abandoned in an overgrown drainage ditch on farmland in Romney Marsh, situated along the south coast. Caroline was found unclothed, except for her tights. A stroke of luck came when a tractor driver stumbled upon her remains by chance and immediately alerted the authorities. The investigations into the bedset murders of 1987 were stalled by the limited technology of the time. No mobile phones for tracking, no CCTV footage, and inconclusive DNA samples collected from the crime scenes. However, a significant shift occurred in 2019 as forensic advancements offered a breakthrough. New methods emerged for extracting DNA from damaged sperm samples, similar to the ones found on Caroline's tights. Moreover, the innovative use of familial DNA technology entered the scene, enabling authorities to determine if an individual was related to the DNA found at the crime scene. This introduction of familial DNA proved a critical turning point in the long-standing investigation. Former Metropolitan Police Detective Noel McHugh, now part of the National Crime Agency, highlighted the critical role of familial DNA in the investigation. This groundbreaking technique allowed investigators to narrow down the vast pool of 6.5 million profiles in the National DNA Database to a more manageable number, eventually leading them to the culprit. The significance became apparent. Without the perpetrator having a previous arrest, with a stored DNA profile in the database, the collected DNA samples from the murder scenes would have remained unattributed. The investigative team focused on individuals from the narrowed list who matched the age criteria and had resided in the vicinity of the murders. This careful examination formed a crucial phase in the pursuit of the killer. Under the guidance of Senior Investigating Officer Detective Superintendent Ivan Beasley, the investigative team carefully assembled a comprehensive list of potential suspects arranged by their proximity as potential relatives of the offender. This list was refined through exhaustive analysis of approximately 90 individuals showcasing close DNA matches. The breakthrough arrived when detectives pinpointed Fuller's brother, whose DNA exhibited a partial match to samples collected in 1987, an extraordinary match estimated at 1 in a billion odds. Collaboration between investigators and archivists at Clark's Footwear became fundamental due to a footprint discovered at the crime scene. Their joint efforts conclusively linked a footprint in blood to one of Fuller's trainers. Furthermore, photographic evidence from Fuller's family album depicted him sporting Trek shoes during the 1970s and 1980s, aligning with the footwear evidence. Armed with these crucial pieces of evidence, the detectives quickly obtained a search warrant and detained David Fuller at his residence on December 3rd, 2020.
Morning. David, please. Hello. I need to come and speak to you. Oh, yes, come. Are you alone? No. Just get up here. David, if you listen to what I'm going to say. Yes. We're from Kent Police and we're investigating the murders of Wendy Nell and Caroline Pierce in 1987. Okay? As part of that investigation, you've been linked as a suspect, both geographically and forensically. Okay? If you listen to what my colleagues are going to say to you.
All right, David. You're under arrest on suspicion of the murders of Wendy Nell and Caroline Pierce in 1987. Do you understand? Yes. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention, when questioned, something which you later lie in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. You are being arrested to secure and preserve evidence by means of questioning, so we can conduct searches, so forensic samples can be obtained, and to prevent your disappearance.
The search of David Fuller's residence uncovered harrowing evidence that dramatically shifted the investigation's focus. Detectives found hidden computer hard drives, CDs, and floppy disks intentionally kept from public view. Among this trove, millions of images depicting sexual offenses were discovered. Astonishingly, within a few moments of sifting through this evidence, the murder case took a chilling turn. Pictures of deceased women from the mortuaries of Kent and Sussex hospitals, along with Tunbridge Wells, emerged. Videos revealed Fuller engaging in acts of necrophilia with these bodies during his tenure of employment. Handwritten diaries precisely documented his encounters with victims at the hospitals, horrifyingly ranging from a 9-year-old girl to a 100-year-old woman. The extent of his immorality was staggering, intensifying the horror of his acts. As a result, during his interrogation on January 3, 2021, these unspeakable and vile acts became the central point of discussion, covering the original murder investigation.
Can you tell me what you've been doing? Can you try and explain it to me? Fine. You find it hard? Yes. Okay. All right. Do you need help? No. Okay. We know that.
I want to admit that I am admitting the offences, but I don't really want to go into detail.
Yeah. Okay.
I appreciate that.
And what offences are you admitting, David?
As you've just described to me.
Okay. In terms of the actual penetration of corpses? Okay. And do you know how many occasions, David?
No.
No. David, I was asking where you put the hard drives, where you would have kept them. Can you help me with where you kept them? You said it was in the office. Now you've got a desk, haven't you, in the office? Yeah? And you've got a wardrobe. You keep quite a lot of your clothes in the office, haven't you? Yeah? Quite a small room. Yes. Now we found some hard drives. There was like packaged to the back of a small chest of drawers. Does it help you, David?
Yes.
Yeah? Is that where you keep the hard drive?
In that tense moment following the detective's revelation of the reasons for his detention, David Fuller sensed the certainty of his dilemma. His silence echoed within the room, an intense struggle evident as he struggled with the weight of disclosing everything. Despite the internal turmoil, the detective remained composed, adopting a calm and unwavering demeanor, allowing space for a potential confession to unfold naturally in the silence.
Okay. The second part to this, David, is the recording, isn't it, of what's been happening, okay? And we'll have to go through that in a little bit more detail, but just for now, David, all right? Just for now, all right? When that's been happening, okay, all right? Have you been recording yourself doing those things? Recording yourself penetrating the corpses?
I admit that,
yeah. Okay. What did you retain the recordings for?
I don't know.
Okay. Was it for actual pleasure, David? You know, in the same way as somebody would keep.
That's Kent and Sussex Hospital.
Yeah.
Not the Time Charles Hospital, the Kent and Sussex Hospital a couple of times, yeah.
Okay.
It started then.
So it started then. Okay. And you say a couple of times. How many would you say?
Not many.
Sorry, not many.
Not many.
Not many. Okay. And in terms of at the Kent and Sussex Hospital, were there any occasions other than at those hospitals? Okay, so it's always just been hospital setting. It's not been at any funeral parlours or anybody that you knew that had died or anything like that. Okay. Do you know why you started?
No.
Do you remember the first time?
The discrepancy between David Fuller's claim of few victims and the staggering evidence discovered on the hard drives was stark. Among the 4 million images of abuse found, many were downloads from the internet, but shockingly, some were recordings of Fuller himself engaging in despicable acts with bodies. Unveiling a horrifying routine, Fuller admitted to waiting for the conclusion of the mortuary staff's shifts, enabling him to access the fridges containing the deceased. His recorded abuses were confined to a disturbing period from December 31st, 2007 to December 2020, spanning his employment at the hospital since 1989.
Did you record who they were? Any details on the hard drive? Did you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Did you record their names?
Yes.
Okay. Did you record their ages?
Yes.
Okay. David, this is probably the hardest question, all right? Or the hardest one for you to answer. But we'll try and feel comfortable answering it. Why did you record what was going on?
I don't know why.
Fuller's choice not to confess may be strategic, avoiding self-incrimination by withholding explicit admission. While we don't align with his actions, his silence is calculated, as admitting his intentions could irreversibly implicate him, making it immensely challenging for his attorney to mount a defense. The damning evidence on his hard drive strengthens the case against him significantly, potentially leading to a life sentence. Despite this, his efforts to minimize his guilt persist, showcasing a calculated attempt to ease his chances of severe sentencing.
I can help you because you know we've searched your office, haven't we? And we've seized your office and we've downloaded computers. I don't know, David, whether certain things in your life have given you the opportunity to do it. Can you see where I'm coming from? That could be a particular shift, or it could be a particular day when the mortuary closes early. It could be something else in your personal life that allows you to do that, or there may not be a sequence. It might just be when one of the females enters the mortuary. What was your thought process about your offending, David? How would you decide that a particular offence would occur? I mean, you know, is it?
I didn't have a particular.
It's quite a staggering turn from the familial DNA connecting him to the crime to the trial where Fuller faces the intimidating task of providing answers beyond his repeated "I don't knows." His silence in the interrogation leaves a haunting void. Yet, in the trial, he confronts the need to provide substantial responses regarding the abuse of over 100 deceased women and the charge of murder. The shift from evasive answers to the trial demands places a glaring spotlight on his actions, demanding accountability and clarity that cannot be evaded with a simple, "I don't know." The severity of David Fuller's actions was harshly outlined by Mr. Michael Bisgrove, the prosecutor, who highlighted a disturbing pattern of conduct throughout Fuller's employment at 2 mortuaries. Bisgrove emphasized that Fuller systematically and persistently abused the bodies of deceased women and girls, with a staggering count of at least 101 victims. Shockingly, evidence presented during the trial revealed that Fuller had continued these horrific acts right up until his arrest in 2020. Testimony further clarified that some instances of abuse occurred mere hours before his apprehension, emphasizing the relentless and ongoing nature of his immoral behavior. The heartbreaking impact of David Fuller's heinous actions was emotionally expressed by the daughter of one victim, who confronted him during the trial, highlighting the profound damage inflicted on families. She emphasized the immeasurable suffering caused by his sick and twisted behavior, noting that Fuller faced accountability only 7 hours after her mother's passing. She revealed her mother's wish not to die in a hospital and the family's decision to decline a post-mortem examination due to the extensive medical interventions she endured during her illness. Similarly, the brother of another victim voiced the deep devastation created by Fuller. He grieved how Fuller's actions had irreparably tainted every cherished memory he held of his sister. His thoughts were now overshadowed by the horrifying knowledge of what Fuller had done to his sister during the time she was supposed to be resting peacefully. The presiding judge, in a damning revelation, exposed the depth of immorality within David Fuller by unveiling the contents of the hard drive, a goldmine of his monstrous acts. The legal proceedings against David Fuller ended in a series of convictions and charges that laid bare the extent of his appalling crimes. In 2021, he was convicted of the murders of Wendy Nell and Caroline Pierce after his DNA matched the samples found at the crime scenes. Fuller received a whole life order, an equivalent of life imprisonment without parole in the UK. Subsequently, he faced further charges in the same year for an additional 16 offenses committed at the closed Kent and Sussex hospital mortuaries. Finally, in 2022, Fuller entered a guilty plea at Maidstone Crown Court, admitting to a shocking list of charges that emphasized his wickedness. His guilty plea included 2 counts of murder, 32 counts of sexual penetration of individual victims' corpses, 1 count of sexual penetration of multiple corpses, 8 counts of taking indecent photographs of children, possession of extreme pornographic material, making indecent images of children, possession of prohibited images of children, voyeurism, and more. These disturbing charges and his admission painted a gruesome portrait of his disgusting actions, sealing his fate in the eyes of the law. Knowing that David Fuller is now incarcerated at HMP Franklin, a maximum security prison, is a relief. His imprisonment ensures that he's kept away from society, preventing him from perpetrating any further disgusting acts. It's truly staggering how advancements in DNA technology played a key role in detaining this dangerous individual. The search of his residence unearthed the awful extent of his criminal behavior, shedding light on his evilness. The fact that he operated unchecked for 13 to 15 years with no reports of his necrophilic acts is indeed shameful and speaks to the hidden nature of such disturbing behaviors. However, there's comfort in seeing justice prevail, although after a prolonged period. The resolution of this horrific case brings closure and a sense of relief to the victims' families and the community. Remember, it's your curiosity that fuels this channel. Keep exploring, stay inspired, and join us for more amazing content next time.